want to talk a little bit about dividing decimal numbers. We've looked at how to multiply decimal numbers. Now let's talk about dividing decimal numbers. Remember, our steps for long division are still the same. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, and then repeat. So in dividing decimal numbers, those steps, divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, and repeat, stay the same. So let's take a look at this decimal number. Let's say we've got 9 and 32 hundredths divided by 4. Alright, so we're still working under the rule divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. The only catch here with dividing decimal numbers is that our decimal point goes straight up into the quotient before we do anything else. Don't pass go, don't collect $200. Move that decimal point straight up into the quotient. Then I can start my process. 9 divided by 4 is 2. 2 times 4 is 8. Subtract. I get 1. Now I bring down my 3. And now I'm looking at 13 divided by 4. 13 divided by 4 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. I subtract again. I get 1. Bring down my 2. And now I'm looking at 12 divided by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. I subtract and I get 0. So that's how I know this problem's done. I have nothing else to bring down over here to the right. It's gone. There's nothing there. And I've ended with a 0 at the end. So I am done with this problem. So let's take a look at another problem. Alright, so let's look at another problem. Remember, our rule is divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, and repeat. So if I'm looking at something, let's look at, I don't know, 3 7/10 divided by 2. Alright. Again, I'm going to follow my rules of divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. 2 will go into 3, I know, 1 time. So 1 times 2 is 2. When I subtract, I get 1. Bring down my 7. Oh, forgot to put my decimal point. 7. So now I'm looking at 17 divided by 2. 17 divided by 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. I subtract and I get 1. But wait, now I have a remainder. Well, that's okay. When you have a remainder in a decimal situation, you add a 0. Bring that 0 down. Remember, adding a 0 to a decimal number doesn't change its value. It only changes its name. And then I can divide out again. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. I subtract and I get 0. Nothing more to bring down. I ended in 0. So my final answer is 1 85 hundredths. So the last one we want to look at is, let's take a whole number. Let's say 42. And we want to divide 42 by 5. Alright, well, again, our rule is the same as it always was. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Repeat that process. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, 42 divided by 5, well, that's going to be 8. 8 times 5 is 40. I subtract and I get 2. Now, here typically is where we would make that fraction remainder, but we're asking to do decimal numbers. So what do? I add my decimal point and I put it straight up in my quotient. Okay. I add a couple of place-holding zeros just in case. And then I continue on with my process. So now I'm going to look at bringing down this 0. And then I divide. 20 divided by 5 is 4. 4 times 5 is 20, 0, and I'm done. So I could look at this and go, well, 8 4/10 times 5 is 42. So the trick with really dividing decimal numbers is remembering to move your decimal point straight up into the quotient, the answer, and then following out your regular long division steps. Okay, those long division steps are divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, and then the repeat. Following those steps is going to work for any long division problem, including one that gives you decimals.